Here's the top 10 most powerful cruisers of World War II. This list is selected based on their combat record, firepower, armor, speed, and overall impact of naval warfare. Number 10. The Deutschland class. Pocket battleships, later reclassified as heavy cruisers, were unique warships built by Germany comprising Deutschland, later Lotso. Admiral Scheer and Admiral Graf Spee combined heavy firepower with cruiser-like speed and range. Armed with 6 11-inch 280mm guns in 2 triple turrets, they could outgun any cruiser and outrun most battleships. With a top speed of 26 knots and a range exceeding 10,000 nautical miles, they operated extensively in the Atlantic, targeting Allied merchant shipping. The Deutschland class had a profound psychological and tactical impact early in the war, forcing the Allies to commit vast naval resources to hunting them down and reshaping maritime strategy in the Atlantic. Number 9. The New Orleans class. The New Orleans class cruisers represented the U.S. Navy's pre-war evolution towards well-protected heavy cruisers under treaty limits. Armed with 9 8-inch 203mm guns, they featured improved armor protection over earlier classes with a 5-inch belt and 2.25-inch deck. Their top speed of 32 knots allowed them to keep pace with carrier task forces. The class saw fierce action in the Pacific, with USS Astoria, Quincy, and Vincennes lost at Savo Island in 1942, a devastating early defeat. However, surviving ships like USS New Orleans and Minneapolis fought valiantly at Guadalcanal, despite sustaining massive battle damage. By the end of the war, they had proven critical in carrier escort, bombardment, and anti-aircraft roles. Their balance of power, armor, and survivability helped set the standard for future American cruiser designs. At number 8, the Atlanta class. The Atlanta class light cruisers were designed as fast, heavily armed anti-aircraft escorts for carrier groups. Armed with 16 5-inch 38 dual-purpose guns, they boasted unmatched anti-aircraft capability for their size. Although lightly armored, they could reach speeds of up to 33 knots, making them ideal fleet escorts. The class participated in several Pacific battles, including Guadalcanal, where USS Atlanta and Juno were both lost in fierce night engagements. Their high rate of fire made them invaluable in defending carriers and transports from air attacks. The surviving ships later provided critical fire support during island invasions. The Atlanta class pioneered the concept of dedicated anti-aircraft cruisers, influencing post-war designs like the Worcester class. Number 7. The Tone class. The Tone class cruisers, consisting of Tone and Chikuma, were unique among Japanese cruisers for their all-forward main battery engagement. Equipped with 8-inch guns and an extensive seaplane complement, they served as reconnaissance flagships for carrier task forces. Their design emphasized scouting and coordination during the Japanese Navy and aerial advantage during early Pacific operations. Both ships participated in key battles such as Pearl Harbor, Midway, and the Indian Ocean Raid. With a top speed of 35 knots and moderate armor, they were versatile and fast. At Midway, Tone's aircraft famously spotted U.S. carriers, influencing the course of battle. However, both ships met their end at Leyte Gulf in 1944 under relentless American air attack. Their integration of aviation and heavy firepower made them precursors to hybrid cruiser-carrier concepts. Number 6. The Takao class. The Takao class heavy cruisers were among Japan's most formidable surface combatants during World War II, combining heavy firepower with impressive range. Each ship carried 10 8-inch 203mm guns and 5 twin turrets, supported by its powerful torpedo armament of Type 93 long-lance torpedoes. With armor up to 127mm and a top speed of 35 knots, they were fast and resilient for their size. The class included Takao, Atago, Maya, and Chokai, which served in major battles such as Midway, the Philippine Sea, and Leyte Gulf. Despite their power, they suffered huge losses due to improved Allied air and submarine tactics. Their striking design influenced later Japanese cruisers, emphasizing speed and torpedo strength. Number 5. The USS Cleveland class. The Cleveland class light cruisers were the backbone of the U.S. Navy's cruiser force in World War II. With 12 6-inch and 12 5-inch dual-purpose guns, they were versatile in both surface and anti-aircraft combat. They reached speeds up to 32.5 knots and had solid armor protection for their size. USS Cleveland and her 26 sister ships fought across the Pacific, participating in every major amphibious operation. Their heavy AA fire saved countless carriers from Japanese air attacks, especially during the Marianas and later Gulf campaigns. The class's design emphasized stability and efficiency with an adaptable layout that led to later missile cruiser conversions. Despite their rapid construction, they were reliable and rugged ships. Number 4. The Admiral Hipper class. Germany's Admiral Hipper class heavy cruisers were powerful and sophisticated warships, representing the pinnacle of Kriegsmarine cruiser design. Armed with 8 8-inch 203mm guns, they had excellent seakeeping abilities and advanced fire control systems. They could reach speeds of up to 32 knots and were well armored for their displacement. Admiral Hipper, Blücher, and Prince Eugene were the most notable members, with Prince Eugene famously accompanying Bismarck during Operation Rheinübung. Prince Eugene survived numerous battles, including Denmark Strait and Baltic operations, and later surrendered intact. They inflicted significant damage on Allied shipping and tied down enemy naval resources. Number 3. The IJN Mogami class. Originally built as light cruisers to comply with naval treaties, the Mogami-class ships were later upgunned into formidable heavy cruisers with 10 8-inch 203mm guns. They combined speed, heavy armament, and powerful torpedoes reaching 37 knots. Despite stability problems early on, post-modifications made them effective surface combatants. Ships like Mogami, Mikuma, Suzuya, and Kumano fought in nearly every major Pacific engagement, from Midway to later Gulf. Mikuma was lost during Midway after airstrikes, while the others were destroyed in 1944 under intense Allied attacks. Their flexible design allowed them to serve in multiple roles, including bombardment, escort, and reconnaissance. At number 2, the Alaska class. The Alaska-class large cruisers were hybrid warships bridging the gap between heavy cruiser and battleships. With 9 12-inch 305mm guns, a top speed of 33 knots, and substantial armor, they were designed to counter Japanese heavy cruisers and battlecruisers. Only USS Alaska and Guam were completed, entering service in 1944. They provided heavy bombardment and anti-aircraft fire support during Pacific operations, including Okinawa and raids on Japan. Their combination of speed and firepower made them formidable carrier escorts. Although they saw limited combat due to their late arrival, their presence deterred enemy surface action, and they were the last of the true supercruisers. At number 1, the USS Baltimore. The Baltimore-class heavy cruisers epitomized American naval engineering at its wartime peak. Armed with 8-inch guns and 5-inch dual-purpose mounts, they offered unmatched firepower, protection, and versatility. With a top speed of 33 knots and thick armor, they could serve effectively in any theater. USS Baltimore and her sisters provided critical fire support and carrier escort during operations in the Pacific, including the Philippines and Okinawa campaigns. Their advanced radar, anti-aircraft defenses, and superior fire control made them highly lethal in both air and surface engagements. They sustained heavy operations with minimal losses. After the war, several ships continued serving through Korea and even into Vietnam. The Baltimore class defined the modern cruiser concept: powerful, fast, and multi-role. That's it, guys, for today. If you've enjoyed, don't forget to hit that notification and subscription button. We'll see you guys around in our next video. Bye-bye.